I believe everyone has greatness in them. As a personal trainer, it's my goal to get people to push themselves and to see the greatness in them that I see. And some people have stories so great, so incredible, I felt the need to share them with the world. Join me as I sit down and talk with some of the people who define greatness in our generation. This is the Junior Wakefield Show. If y'all are excited as I am, I'm excited because then this is the first show of the Junior Wakefield Show. So I'm pretty pumped up and kind of excited. So, I mean, to have my own show is probably something that's been a dream come true. But the best dream out of it all is to be able to have the person that brought me into this world, and which is my dad. So my dad is right here, and this is Henry Wakefield Sr. So, hey, Dad, how's it going?
I'm going good.
Going good. So guess
good.
what? Hey, the best part about it now, hey, I got the Junior Wakefield Show, and I got my dad on here, so I get an opportunity to ask him a couple of questions. And first of all, I need a loan. I'm joking. That wasn't gonna work. But you just won our barbecue contest between Bill, myself, and well, just us three. How'd you feel to win?
Well, it was good. I thought we tied.
No.
We didn't
There
tie?
there wasn't no tie.
Oh, I
There was
thought
no
we
tie.
tied.
So you won. So
Oh,
that makes
okay.
it even better.
Well, that's good. But all three of them were good.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, good. That makes it even better. So the question is, and we have a friend, a family member in California who always tries to challenge us when it comes to our cooking. And so I want this to be on the record. Between California and Texas, who has the best ribs, or who cooks the best?
But Texas is gonna be the best.
There we go.
Always.
Good. I want to make sure I got that. I got that across. So, which is crazy. A couple of questions that I've been thinking up since just figuring out this stuff out. So when we grew up in a family environment. We grew up in the country. We had, we had to we worked for our food. If you didn't work, you didn't eat. And society today is completely different than what the time that we were growing up. So with the experiences that you've seen throughout the years compared to today, would you say society is stronger, or is it weaker compared to when we were growing up?
Well, it's strong in certain ways, but it's weaker in certain ways too. Because back then we didn't have the technology that we have now. But even with technology, man is gone crazy. Yeah. So
I think the word crazy is good, but I also wanted to say it's almost kind of like lazy, because it gets to the point that I know that when we were growing up, you had to be up at a certain time, you had chores and stuff you had to do, you had to work if you were going to eat and so forth. Nowadays, it's like more people are just ready for a handout, or a lot more lazier. And when we talk about the technology and so forth, our technology was just a TV and a rabbit ears, and with a little bit of foil on the top of the rabbit ears, and you just had to hold it to make sure that you got the right signal. Nowadays, you got so much stuff. But if we had to take one thing about the times that we were all growing up and so forth, which one was the best times? Now, when I say the times, I'm talking about the 70s, 80s, 90s. What was the best time for you during those times?
well, the 50s and 60s and 70s were good for me because things were cheaper, and you didn't have to spend a lot of money for food and groceries and clothes.
So if you had $10 compared to today, compared $10 back then, what more things could you get for $10 back then compared to today?
Well, $10 back then you could have a meal for about a week or two.
Oh, wow.
Now you don't even get a bag for $20.
That's true. We didn't have box stores or many different things like that. I can remember in the car with your mom, grandma, where she would go and she would drive into the gas station. It was full service. They'd tell her to pop the hood, and they'd do the windshield wipers and all that stuff, and they'd fill everything up and check it up, and then she would sign for it. Now you can't sign for nothing because it's just the way life, the technology and so forth. If you had to pick which era that you would have lived in, that you would have loved to lived in, or wish it could have maintained more, what era would that have been? such as the 60s, 70s. You said the 40s, 50s, and 60s were really good.
Yeah, but the '70s wasn't bad either. Because like I said, things didn't cost as much.
Yeah.
So, but it now it's outrageous. And the price look like gas. Back in the '70s, you could get gas for about 60 or 70 cents, a gallon. But now you're looking at $2 or $3, $4, $5
Yeah.
a gallon.
Yeah,
So
that's
it
true.
was a lot simpler back then too.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I always liked when we took road trips, we always listened to music, and there was certain music and so forth that we liked, which we still like today. And the times have changed. I'm so far behind on the music today because I can't understand a lot of the lyrics of the new songs. So back then when we were growing up, we were listening to the Temptations, the Four Tops, Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, that era as we were growing up, even more so when Michael Jackson and so forth was coming around. What do you think about the music today? And is there still radio stations today that you're able to listen to, or do you have to download your own music?
Well, there's still radio stations you can listen to that plays oldies, but a lot of them don't go back to the '50s though. 50s and '60s. Most of them is just '70s and '80s, and then today's music.
And so, what was the best? If you had to say, what's your favorite group? What would it be?
Well, I like the Temptations, and the Spinners, and a lot of the other groups too.
Yeah. So, which is really kind of incredible. I talked about the times, and we look back and forth. During this time, we talked about the family arrangement and talked about how family was so important for us as we were growing up because we did everything as a family. Now, as I've gotten older and I was able to build my own family and get my own family together, the trials and tribulations of back then compared to today is completely different because the worries of years past of when we were growing up compared to now, it's like you had to worry if, just if you were going to eat or just different things like that. Now everything is so processed and everything is so fast food and stuff like that. How does a person from when we were growing up keep that same family arrangement today, especially with so many more distractions and so forth? How would you say?
Well, it's hard to do that, but you can do it. You just keep your same frame of mind, really, but you're moving into a different era too, from back then.
But that era was so simple and it wasn't simple back then, but it seemed more simple compared to what it is today. So, which is really kind of crazy. Now, one of the craziest things about it is we have my son Zachary here, so which makes us three generations. And I know from the things that you taught me, which were the things that were different, because what you taught me, we talked a lot about finances. You talked about how to build things, how to make things work. You had to think for yourself. And nowadays, it's more about everybody having someone to tell them how to think. Well, with Zachary, it's that big transition of going from the time that you were teaching us to me teaching Zachary. I had a tough time being able to transition in between that new time, of coming in from that 80s, 90s and trying the technology and so forth. Have you learned most of the technology from today? So, for example, when it comes to the new phones, you have the new phones and you have so many different gadgets on it. Have you been able to figure out all the new technology with the phones and with the radios and with all the smartphones, the smart speakers and different things like that?
No. I don't even try.
There you go. That was pretty simple.
As long as I can say hello and goodbye, I'm good.
Well, yeah.
About all.
I think we're both in that same boat because I have a phone and all I know how to do is send a text message or make a phone call. Other than that, I don't know anything like that. So we talked about the family arrangement. We talked about how times were different back then and today. We talked about, your favorite music and different things like that. So out of all in all, who's the best cook? Well, we know it ain't Bill, so it has to be in our family. So we'd be like, who would be the best cook?
Well, that's a toss up, I don't put anybody's food down because, they normally they cook what they want to cook.
Yep.
They cook what they want to cook and they know what they like to eat.
Yep.
So, then a lot of times you do the best you can with it.
That's it. That makes him better. Well, as I said, this is pretty cool to be able to sit here and talk to your dad about, many different things in life, especially about ups and downs and so forth. But one of the things that I'm gonna touch on is just it's the serious point with Zachary. When Zachary was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer, it really threw me for a loop because a lot of times I felt like a failure, not really knowing exactly what to do and so forth. But throughout the years, I leaned on you when times got tough. And as this time got tough, I was struggling, trying to figure out what to do and how to react. And if what trying to be a good father or a good husband and all that stuff was. But one of the things that I appreciated is when I did have a tough time, you were still there. You kept answering questions. You kept telling me to hang in there. You kept telling me to keep going forward. You kept telling me to keep, don't sit too much time and stress about it. And of course, as a kid, and especially, you always want to, please your dad in everything that you do. And the thing that I say that I appreciate even more so is you stayed steadfast in everything that you said and everything that you were doing, which is one of the things that makes me who I am today, because I just follow your example of the hard work of teaching, of trying to be an incredible example. If you had any words of wisdom or any words that you can use for the kids today, not just Zachary and so forth. Well, yeah, for Zachary, for him, for one, to keep fighting, and for grandkids and anybody else, what would be the advice that you can tell kids today that they can use for the rest of their lives?
Well, think about it. One thing you can listen to your parents, because they've been where you're trying to go. That's the main thing. But with Zachary, it threw everybody for a loop. When he found out he had what he had. But the thing about it is, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. But you just try to have faith in the doctors. But most thing you have to have faith in God and hope that things will work out real well.
Yeah. So listen to the parents is something that it's a little different because kids don't actually listen to it today. So, with the way the government is and giving the stimulus checks and so forth, if there was a financial question that you'd have to have, or if there's something, something that a child today can use for the rest of their lives, such as, hey, get a trade or something like that, what would you say?
Well, yeah, they could get get a trade, learn, just learn as much as they can in order to survive.
Yeah.
Because if without knowing which way you're going, you have no future.
More. That's it.
But you got to know which way you're going.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's it.
What you want to do.
That's it. And that's a good one. So hopefully everybody will be able to learn. It's kind of funny just because, we're here saying that it's a Junior Wakefield show. I have a blast and I feel great because as I said, the thing that I've always wanted to try to do is I wanted to be the best that I could be, but also to be able to have your dad right there and to be able to sit and say, hey, I got a Junior Wakefield show and my dad is here. I mean, that's awesome. I'm on cloud 9. I'm good. I think I just won the lottery. So it makes it even better. And also the thing too, is to be able to have my son, Zachary, out there to be able to be a part of it and kind of see what what does dad do? So I'm kind of impressed with that. And plus to have my dad here, 3 generations of Wakefields. We're just going to keep it going. Man, thank you to Jeff Crilly and the whole Real News PR staff for letting us do this. Patricia, I got to thank of Bill Dixon too, for everybody out. The B City Boot Camp guys, for everybody that all I work out with in Greenville. Kelly Smith, Hunter, all you guys. Just wanted to say hello. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. All the Kellys. And had a blast. So thank you guys for everybody giving me this opportunity to be able to chat with my dad live, which is great. And I had a blast. So Dad, love you. Zachary, love you. Tracy, Brevin, Landry, love you guys. So, Macy, forgot my own sister. So anyway, thank you guys very much. I had a blast. Thank you.